Alright folks, welcome back. This is Steve and it is Commodore 64 repair time. This is machine number 7. This machine was sent in by a viewer, Don Diagidio. Thank you very much, Don. We tried to get this thing going through the evaluation on a live stream linked up above, over there, and found out that it probably has a bad PLA. We got a replacement PLA in from Dr. Dave, from Dr. Dave's Diversion. Channel linked down below and up above, over there again. And today we're going to get it in and get it working. We will see what happens. Stick around. Oh, and down below there's all those buttons for, you know, making the channel a little more popular with everybody else and bringing more content in. The join button, the like button, the subscribe button, the bell. All kinds of links in the description where you can find all the cool tools and toys that I use when I make all this stuff work again. So, see you after the break. Number 7 on the bench, and number 7 has what we have diagnosed as a bad PLA, and so I need to jump right into that. We're going to take the keyboard off, and I already have it unscrewed from the live stream where we diagnosed it, and we're going to get the circuit board out, the motherboard out, and again it's already disconnected from the aforementioned live stream, which means that the RF shield is gone off the top and off of the bottom. And what we need to do is remove the PLA. This is a 250407 board, and it is a Rev B. So I am going to start working on getting rid of the solder that is on the PLA chip, and then we will put in one of these 2 spare chips. This is the PLAnkton. So I'm going to make some noise, so we're going to swish on by that. Okay, and now that chip is out and the noisemaker is gone. I lost my glasses. Where did I put my glasses? There they are. Detail-oriented work requires detail-oriented glasses. Yep, so there's still just a little teeny tiny bit of solder on the side of this. It was giving me a little bit of difficulty, but nothing that the nothing that the desoldering gun couldn't handle. The big trick there is add fresh solder, because it needs to create a seal in order to create good vacuum, and so you need some solder that flows, and that's what we did multiple times in a rows. So I never put sockets, I never put chips back into a machine without putting a socket back in. So let's get a socket in here, and then we can try the PLAnkton and see if that solves the problem. Making sure all my socket pins are correct. And I guess before I solder this thing down, I should double check. Yep, okay, so all of the traces look good, no problems there. Make sure the notch in the socket lines up with the notch on the silkscreen, which is at least a 50% chance of having it done right. And these pins are all over the place. Let me get this straightened out real quick. Okay, back to putting the socket in the socket holes. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now what I'd like to do is put one corner on, and verify that it's nice and flush before I put any other corners on. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And what I need to do is clean up that mess, and there was already a kernel ROM in a socket, so I want to clean up that mess that was left behind by the previous installer, previous repairer, and get her back to working condition, and pretty working condition. But it looks like this board may have seen some work in its day. The power switch is kind of gloopy. There's a chip hiding underneath of the VIC cover that's a little dirty. This one's a little dirty. One of the 556 timers is a little dirty. It should be a 556, but it says 7406 with no brand name on it. And then this is a Motorola L8337. That one's okay. Alright, let's get that cleaned up real quick. And what I'm using is some flux remover. Now, the next trick is to get one of these PLANKTONs in and see if we can get it to boot off of the dead test cartridge. Okay, so there's a little bit of a thing. The PLANKTON has a different number of pins on it. Okay, I see what's going on. So if you look, there is a pin missing there, and there is a pin missing there. And when I went to put it in, it was one pin shy, but it's designed that way. And it's fairly obvious, once you look at the other side, that it's a missing pin and how it goes in. I thought it might have had to shift up or down, and I would have to go read some documentation, and we don't read manuals on this channel. Not at all. Let's get this thing plugged into a screen and see what happens. Okay, we have the machine plugged into the desk. Big screen on and running. The new PLA, the PLANKTON, is installed. Let's give it a power on. And there we go. Woohoo! I like it. That was not a bad repair. The PLA was clearly bad. We've got 64K RAM system, 38,911 bytes free. Let's get this thing rebooted with the dead test cartridge and see what happens. There was no light on the cartridge port. Alright, so the cartridge is not happy. The cartridge port is not happy. Yep, keyboard's not plugged in, no cassette plugged in, no serial plugged in, no user port plugged in. SID chip is okay. We're doing a video test. I think there's no volume on this screen. Yeah, there was no volume on the screen. Let's run through that again and see if we... Ooh. Okay, it makes noise, it displays colors. Let's try the dead test again. The song of my people. Alright, so we made it through a successful test. I think that the cartridge port is just dirty, since they do just run. So I will give that a good cleaning. Alright, back on the bench. And we now know that we have a bad PLA. So we'll put a big old X on that chip and toss it in the dead parts bin. But to clean the dead test cartridge slot, well, I'm not cleaning the dead test cartridge, I guess I am. I am going to spray a little bit of electronics cleaner on the card, and then we will insert and remove a couple of times to help clean those fingers off. All right, that's clean enough for now. We will continue to use the machine, and that will continue to get it clean. Put the dead test cartridge back away. And this little lead here that is sticking out the side of the cartridge port, wherever it went off to, is connected up to the R44 resistor, and this is for the SFD 1001 floppy disk, which is kind of like the 1541, only faster, and it requires a special connection. And so we will test that in an upcoming episode, and you'll get to see how all that works. But first, I got to find out how it works. So another successful repair. Love it. Okay, that was a pretty straightforward repair. Commodore 64 number 7. And sit that down before I drop it and hurt myself. Most of the Commodore 64s that show up with black screens are going to be bad PLAs. And then once you get past the black screen issue, then you can start figuring out whether there are other issues. We were pretty lucky that it was just a bad PLA in this. All the RAM checked out okay, and didn't have to go any farther than that. Sometimes it is just easy like that. But if you see a black screen, probably should start with replacing the PLA. Commodore PLAs are pretty much known to be failing around this time right now. And there are lots and lots of replacements out there. The PLAnkton is a fantastic example. There is a link in the description down below for the PLAnkton. We plugged it in, it booted up, no problem. Cartridge connector, cartridge port was a little wonky, a little janky there. I think that we've got it all straightened out with the cleaning, and it will get some use here in the next couple of days, and that will also help to clean it up a little bit more to get some of that oxidization. Yeah, rust. Get some of that rust off of it. So, I appreciate you watching. We have 3 more machines coming up from the live stream that need to be repaired. If you didn't catch the live stream, be sure to go back and watch that, where we got all of the machines diagnosed, so we knew what we were getting ourselves into before we even started the video today. Thank you for being awesome. Coming up next is the credit screen for all of the patrons and channel supporters. And if you would like to be a patron or a channel supporter, there are links down below, the join button or the Patreon link in the description. We will see you in the next one. Thanks for being awesome.